myself through the monitor. Oh my god, look at me. That's me monitoring myself on my laptop. But anyway, guys, Ninjan, Gira, it's Mina. Let me not scream into the mic. It is a day to the elections, less than 24 hours, because voting polls open at 7 a.m. And I'm quite nervous. You know, being back home and like, you know, on social media, on TikTok, on Twitter, a lot of people seem to be very progressive. A lot of people seem to be interrogating, you know, manifestos, looking at the economic policies, the educational policies, the plans to curb unemployment. But then as soon as I landed in OR Tambo, right, I'm like, okay, not much has changed in South Africa, right? Then I have conversations with people who have not registered to vote, or people who are very keen on voting for the ANC or the DA. And I realized just how much hasn't changed. I do think that we as, you know, political commentators on TikTok, on Twitter, have affected brains here and there. But there is a whole group of people that I feel my platform hasn't tapped into. And it goes back to that English feedback that I got from Ukolela and other people saying that was like in Khatliso Amahle. We hear what you're saying, but there's an audience that you aren't reaching, right? And I mean, there's other people that don't want to be saved. He don't want to be saved, don't save him. As Glorilla, as Megan Thee Stallion, as Sexy Red said, some people don't want to be saved. And it's okay. And it's not my job to be superwoman. I'm not your superwoman. Ding, 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 ding. It's not my job to be superwoman all the time. I think there was a time when I was very fatigued in terms of talking about politics because, I mean, I'm a young black girl on social media, and a lot of people tend to be very rude. And when people ask me, why did you slow down with election content? I think people weren't listening to me properly, and so it was very hard to convey my message in a way that was productive, in a way that I felt made me safe. I felt very unsafe speaking about politics. And you know, kudos to Darren and Dan and all these people that have been able to speak about politics. But I saw that a lot of the people that started to withdraw from politics were the female political commentators. You know, I think a lot of people started speaking about light and insignificant topics. I know I did. And speaking about the election in a very misogynistic context such as South Africa's, with South African men who don't know how to listen to a woman, who don't know how to listen to a femme. I think that was very, very difficult for me in terms of election content. And now looking at the elections tomorrow, I know who I'm going to vote for, right? I know who I'm going to vote for. I think everyone low-key knows who they're going to vote for, but we are scared of saying it. Not that we're scared, but I'm not completely 100% happy with my choice, if I'm being honest. And they are the best choice. In terms of their manifesto, I read that manifesto. It was the one manifesto that didn't sound like an hello project, right? Very happy with the manifesto. But looking at some of the history of the leaders, you know, that did bring me a little bit of apprehension, or it did scare me and bring my confidence in the party down a little bit. But you need to give people a chance. I mean, human beings are human beings and they make mistakes. But mistakes on that level, I don't think I could even ever make that mistake. Doing that is not a mistake, but if you know what political party I'm alluding to, then you know. It's not the ANC, it's definitely not the ANC, it's definitely not the DA. And also, you know, working within South African politics, being behind the scenes for many organizations, you know, being in, you know, specific radio shows or whatever. I mean, having conversations with people has really opened my eyes to the misinformation that happens in South Africa, but also the way that people don't understand South African issues. Like, people will ask me the simplest question and then make a claim and say things and make an assumption, and I'm like, how did you even land at that assumption? Like, who told you that? And people will be like, oh, I saw it on Facebook. You didn't think to interrogate further. It's funny because when people are busy reading Gabo La Tono, Le Ayanda Ngube, and all these celebrities, people are able to do research. People are able to speak up and say, oh, okay, I investigated. You know, the Twitter FBI in South Africa is very serious. But when it comes to knowing your voting station, people can't figure that out. When it comes to knowing when is the last day to register, people can't figure that out. When it comes to understanding the history and the actions and the rumors of these political parties, people can't figure that out. That's absolute rubbish. And maybe I'm speaking from a place of privilege, and I'm not talking about financial privilege or anything. I don't have financial privilege. You see this little corner that I'm filming at Kore, I had to shove things around this house is very, very small, like nah. But maybe because I've been taught in terms of like how to look for information, how to be curious. And people have different interests, right? And my interest is genuinely in politics. But when people think that politics don't affect them, you know, whenever I go to a shop sometimes and I'm busy calling at the shop and I'm like, oh, by the way, for the Luban, you know, I'm register. Girl, it's 2 days before I'm still register. But I understand, you know, there's a lot of problems in other people's lives, and I think the way that South African politics it looks like these problems and politics are so far removed from each other. To other people, their problems are not related to politics, and politics won't affect them. And I saw this quote on TikTok that said, the elections won't bring us liberation, but they will protect liberation efforts. And I think that's such a key point. That's something I've been trying to say. I don't believe that any of these parties can espouse change as fast as we want them to, right? Within the white monopoly capitalist systems of South Africa, it's not going to come that fast, or as fast as we need it to. But it's better to vote for a party that you know will protect your liberation interests, your liberation efforts, even if it won't further them, rather than to vote for a party that will delete out all the liberation efforts we have put in as Black feminists, as Black people. You can hear my stomach rumbling. I am hungry. But as Black people in this country, that's why I will never, vote for the DA. I will never vote for the VF+. I will never vote for Party Yamakhoana. I'm not racist. I don't even need to say that, actually. I don't need to justify why I wouldn't. But when you look at the policies of the DA, it speaks about non-racialism. Non-racialism isn't possible. You can't just win the elections and then lift the BEE and say, okay, now we're now a non-racial society. Are you crazy? And even when they were like, oh, okay, we're not going to improve employment because we're going to try to make South Africa a meritocratic country. That will never work if you are not tackling the systems that hinder the meritocracy. South Africa isn't a non-meritocratic country by mistake. It is because of your people, it is because of white people, it is because of the design of apartheid that it is hard for South Africa to genuinely be meritocratic. And it's so funny that white Cape Townians have the audacity, the gall, the gumption to claim that they are at a disadvantage. When we drive out of that airport, people corrected me. They said, I don't see Nyanga, I see Langa. Right? When you drive out of Cape Town International. That's why it's so funny for me when I hear Americans, you know, when they come to Cape Town and they're like, oh my God, straight out the airport, it was just so beautiful. You mean Langa? Like, I don't understand. That is not beautiful to me at all. And for me, I'm not even shitting on the Black people that live there. Those are people's lived realities, right? And you know, one thing I asked my mom when we were in Cape Town was like, why don't the Black people in these townships revolt? I mean, they can see the division. They can see Kutheni? And then when they see, what's this thing again? Clifton and Sea Point and Camps Bay, kutheni? Don't they get angry? Abakwate, abakumbi. Like, I just didn't understand it. My mom told me, you don't know what poverty does to people. You don't know the weapon that poverty is against, a productive mind. Because nakana, just think, how are you going to revolt when you're hungry? You're thinking about the matters of the stomach. The matters of the stomach are so dangerous. And I remember there was an artist that came to my high school once through the Conscious Campaign, and he spoke about how dangerous poverty of the stomach is and how it is the stem or the root of a lot of the reason why a lot of people cannot revolt. And I think that's even why the middle class can't revolt, because the middle class kind of knows Uguti, it's very close to that poverty of the stomach, right? And because people are so busy running away from it, they think that the only way that they can run away from that type of poverty is to reinforce white colonial systems and to try and crawl into white wealth, which would never happen, because even when you look at my skin, I am black, right? And I say this as a black person that when I came back home, I came back with the with the intention of listening and not speaking a lot. That's why a lot of my TikTok videos, now that I'm back home, are just vlogs and stuff, because I've been speaking to people, I've been asking questions. Yesterday, I was in Rosebank, I went to a couple of shops. I didn't interview people for the camera. Other people don't want to be on camera. Not everything has to be shot. Not everything has to be televised. But I was just asking people, I was genuinely shopping for an election outfit. And I was like, oh, Nina, continue for Teluvani, what are you guys voting for? And black people, when you're in the suburbs and, when you get into the shop and they perceive you as like, a suburban girl, and then you kumisana with them, you communicate with them in Tsozital, but like, oh, okay, this is a suburban girl that likes to talk to black people, that's not rude to black people, whatever. And we had very long conversations in different shops, and I was just like, so people know the issues. It's just that people feel defeated. And I'm also at a point where I feel defeated. I'm also at a point where I really, really don't know what's gonna happen with the country, because someone wrote an essay, but they submitted an essay to, I think it was News 24 or something, and it was saying that this is a high stakes, low intensity election, and the way people are so chilled about this election, I think we haven't realized how high stakes it is. Even I haven't realized how high stakes it is. And as a black person of a specific black experience, I really want to learn about other people's black experiences. I really want to understand why people are so adamant on voting for the ANC. I really want to understand, and but I do not understand why people vote for the ANC. For me, it doesn't make sense. Maybe because it has never made sense in my family. Like, for as long as I've been born, my family is like, okay, after Mbeki, no, we haven't been ANC supporters. And I just thought that was the stream of thinking everywhere. And it was also framed that, people who vote for the ANC are unintelligent, they don't know what they're doing. There are people that live in the lallies. But it's not just people who live in the lallies. Some of the most educated people I have ever spoken to are telling me that they're voting for the ANC. Zizoshintsha izinto thulamdana wena ukhalelani sikhalela inhlupheko, man. We're crying for a very valid reason. Don't ask me why I'm crying, because I'm not crying right now, but it makes me sad. And then also the black people that like the DA, I've said it, My languages are even mixing. I don't know. Azithi mzala ngawe. Azithi tutubabo ngawe. It doesn't say cousin with you. It's not making sense. It's not making sense at all. Not at all. Not at all. Why are you voting for the DA? Why are you voting for the ANC? And I mean, I think my district is actually ANC. I live in a white area, but I think it's ANC. I'm not sure. But I remember seeing a white ANC man on my mom's t-shirt. My mom doesn't vote for the ANC. We just have pajama merch. I have a Winnie Mandela ANC t-shirt. I have the Thabo Mbeki one. I think someone took it when my granny passed away. You know when people pass away in like black culture, then people just put their clothes there for donations and stuff. I think someone took my granny's Thabo Mbeki t-shirt. And I wonder where she got that Thabo Mbeki t-shirt, because she was living in England for his election. So, yeah. Anywho, I'm going on tangents because I'm flawed. You know, I'm at a loss. Because even the black people that were attacking me for saying that Azithi Nzala, if you vote for the DA, a lot of people were like, oh, so must we vote for the ANC? What did I say? Ukuthi kubaleni vote the ANC? Ngithe Azithi Nzala ngawe because you're voting for the DA. I'm sure ukuthi vote the ANC. Guys, angilaleli nina. Do you know it's like that that tweet that said, what did that tweet say? Or on Twitter, you'll be saying, oh, I don't like pancakes. And then someone will say, well, why do you like waffles? Hello, I'm Shona. Loot on my waffles. I didn't say, I love you, Uncle Waffles. What do you say? Kidding. I'm joking. Anyway, so who y'all voting for? Who are you guys voting for? Because it's a rough out here. And oh, one thing I do like about the conversations we're having now, why do people have a problem with the open border policy? Because, you know, come on, get Darren. Leave to like Darren. Colored. He's black and colored. He's black, but ethnically he's colored. Because he identifies as black racially, but I think ethnically he identifies as colored. Yeah, get Darren. Darren did say, when we are competing for 15% of the resources as 95% of the population, that's what I've been trying to say, and I think he put it so well. And every time I try to bring up this point, I get death threats. I saw his comments. He didn't really get death threats, so I just reposted what he said. Because, like, why are we competing for 15% of the resources when we could be on the people who earn 85% of the resources door? And the thing is, for them, a lot of people make the point that, oh, most of the people who are in the 10%, in the top 10%, in the top 5% are black people. It's not proportional. It's not proportional to the amount of black people in this country. So even when you're looking at the top 10 businesses in Africa, and all of them, or most of them are South African businesses, which of those are black owned? None! You know, even, I don't know if screaming into this mic will even help. Or when we take pride in Elon Musk being South African, Elon Musk was within the mind, allegedly. When people take pride, you know, the only white South African I really be taking pride in is, what's his name? Roger Federer, because I'm a huge fan of tennis. But it's a joke. I'm being facetious when I take pride in him. But like, even the money thing, when you guys are taking pride in all these billionaire companies that exist through your blood at your detriment, it's all a good hey. It's all a good hey. And then now you're being xenophobic towards other Africans on Twitter comment sections, being like, oh, look, this is what we earn, this is what, top what in South Africa, top what in Africa, this is ours, what do you guys have as Nigeria, what do you guys have as Zambia, what do you guys have as Zimbabwe, what do we have? We have nothing. We have nothing. I'm about to sing that Whitney Houston song, but let me not. What do we have? You know, I can't even say the state in other African countries is better because obviously their resources are also owned by a monopoly. The only difference is that the monopoly is black. And when we have these very fickle and like dumb arguments on whether it's better to have a white monopoly or a black monopoly, either way, black people are dying from a black or a white monopoly, and both the black monopoly and the white monopoly are a result of colonialism. But because it's in white hands, it's like it's sad. You know, when you're flying to South Africa and there's no black South Africans on the flight, or the only black South Africans on the flight are, the people that roll their R's like me, So you see that class division, that racial division, right? And then when people tell you that they've never met a black South African, I'm not crying. I swear I'm not crying. And you go overseas, right? And I understand why black South Africans stay in South Africa. If you hear my voice shaking on my podcast, it's because I'm crying, right? And then people will tell you, oh, you're the first black South African I've ever met. And so many black South Africans that would have wanted to travel the world. Not that they would have wanted to move out of South Africa, but just to travel, just to born and just to go to other African countries. One thing about black South Africans, I know a lot of black South Africans who travel, they like to travel within the continent, actually, right? And then people will tell you, you're the first black South African I've ever met. Yo, Nkosi yami. Kore. Abelungu basiphethe, Nkosi yami. Yo, I'm not pressing my ass so that the tears can come out. I'm pressing my ass so that they can't come out. If you're watching on YouTube. Abelungu basiphethe, guys. Siphethe. Kore, Jamaicans speak patois. Tina siyaphathwa. Oh my word. Siphethwe, Nkosi yami. Yo. And then, coming back home, I haven't even been to Soweto since I've been back. That's actually so bad that I haven't been back to Soweto. Because usually that's my first trip, back home. But being in the suburbs and then seeing white people try to push in front of you in a line. No, it's not even that they think they own this country. They own this country. And how do we change that? And often I ask myself, what did we do to get this treatment as black people? Like, to be living in Africa and then to have to compete for our own resources in the African continent. And then when we're voting, don't laugh. I'm crying, but don't laugh. Yo, because this is sad. And then when we're voting, now we have to be begging people to want freedom. We have to be gathering these parties to draft manifestos that don't sound like our projects. And then within ourselves, we have to delude ourselves to think that, freedom is on the line. Freedom is coming. Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get ready, mama. Prepare for your freedom. And we have to, now when people ask me in the streets, Amara, do you genuinely believe in the elections? I have to lie. Ngintshela ukuthi, yes, go register. God, now when I registered, I had to register by fire, by force. By force, by fire. Now, it's all I was thinking about who I'm voting for. Who's very serious? Yes, I I love their manifesto. You know, if people wow, stuck to their manifestos, wow. If that party stuck to their manifesto, South Africa would be such a beautiful country. But even if they stuck to their manifesto, like when we say the backlash from the West, people think we're joking. I think a lot of people take the backlash from the West as in, oh, CNN is going to gossip about us. No, when we say backlash from the West, we say being besieged. And people say, well, we're covered by bricks. You know, Africans like to trust things outside of Africa a lot. And it's alarming because iyo lento esifake kule situation esikuyo manje. Not that we trusted colonizers when they came here. We didn't. We fought 120 years of Xhosa frontier wars. There was the Battle of Isandlwane. Mushweshwe did what he had to do. Dingane did what he had to do. You know, everyone did what they had to do. Some people won the battles. Many people lost the wars. Wemkhuleko, umkhuleko, unamandla. Why am I even singing gospel? I'm speaking about colonialism. I'm actually singing gospel. How ironic is that? Ungamasi khuleka ngokukholwa ulalela aphendula umkhuleko. If wishes were horses, something with the river and water, I don't know. If wishes were horses, there's a saying. You know, my granny always used to say, if wishes were horses, and then but she never finished it. Then I googled it and it said, if wishes were horses, and wada wada was the sea, we'd be drinking from the sea every day, something like that. Yo, because yeah, I'm saying is, yeah. Devastated. But when you get to the polls tomorrow, Kuto, don't have your nails on. Other people said it's fine if you have your nails on. I don't know. I've never voted. I'm that young. Yes, I'm that young. I've never voted. For the last election, how old was I? It was in 2019. Oh, I was 16. I'm lying. I was like 15 or something. Yeah, somewhere there, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I'm gonna get there in the morning sharp because I have to go fix my teeth. Going to the veneer tech. Joking. Actually going to the real dentist. Not for veneers though. Good luck on your decisions. Make wise decisions. Just remember that the decisions you make may be our liberation, or they may continue our struggle. And I look at certain people who pick specific parties and I'm like, you're actually choosing to kill people. You are actually choosing to kill people. It's okay. No one cares. I realized no one cares actually. I care, but I care. I know you don't care so much, but I still care. La 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 la, baby. Before you say I'm coking, I'm crashing out on coke. I'm not. I'm literally just this chaotic. Because I see in media now every time when a woman is becoming emotional or nati as it is, they say, oh, this is a coke out, it's a coke crash out, not me. Anginamali ye-coke mina, anginamali ye-Coca-Cola, anginamali ye-cocaine, so yeah. Bye. Wait, how do I end this? to be with voice isolation.